What is up, everyone? It's Monday again. We had another pretty big tournament this weekend, so we're going to talk about the meta, we're going to talk about the tournament, and some other news about standard and other formats like that. So, yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty, starting off as per usual with standard best of one. Standard best of one, still there's a lot of aggro, though I have seen a lot of domain control in best of one. It seems to be a pretty popular list. I think mono red, domain control are the two I see the most by far. Four color control, domain control. And then we got a few other decks doing pretty well in best of one. Esper Legends, 5-color domain with the ramp. And every once in a while you'll see, blue-white control or Esper control or something like that. But a lot of aggro, a lot of ramp. That's the main thing you see in best of one. And I did see that Azura's control is here. I wanted to take a look at the list. This one is sitting at a 57.4% win rate, so pretty good. I kind of wonder if this is like CGB's list or something like that, since I know he plays a lot of blue-white, and it looks like the kind of deck he would, kind of like, and 100 games, so could be. But yeah, very interesting. We see the Hornlock Whale and the Wandering Emperor as the win cons. Quick Study and Dissipate at 3 mana to kind of, fill out your curve without tapping out. And 4 Memory Deluge, that's also pretty crazy. And Sunfall and Farewell makes sense. Only 2 Syncopates and a few early game removal. Fateful Absence, interesting. It's something we haven't seen a lot recently, but I guess it's fine if you've got Farewell in your deck to get rid of the artifacts later, or even Sunfall. So very interesting. It could be that blue-white is just better than Bant, especially if you've got this much draw in your deck, that maybe it's worth playing. The Up the Beanstalk is very nice, though. I have to admit, I've really liked it, but it does make your mana base quite a bit worse. So that's the trade-off. Yeah, maybe worth trying blue-white. All right, if we go on to standard best of 3, honestly looks almost the same. You got soldiers, you got 4-color control, and this is the flash version of the soldiers, or tempo version. You got Esper Legends, of course, mono white humans, mono red, band control, Esper control, etc. So mostly the same. Not a whole lot in best of 3 that stands out. Basically, all the world's decks are in best of 3. And this week, Historic has been kind of popping off, so we do have a lot of Historic stuff coming up. So let's take a look at the tier list for now. Right now, Ninjas is sitting at the top spot, very popular. It was one of the top decks that people were looking at for the Historic Arena Championship 4, which was this weekend. That's the very big tournament we're going to look at later. So Ninjas kind of surged up in popularity. Of course, we got Yawgmoth, and Is It Wizards, and Esper Affinity, and Sultai Dredge. All the usual players as well. But yeah, Ninjas was one that people were really hyped about. All right, I did notice that there was kind of a cool deck down here, No Color Paradox Storm. So I wanted to see what that was all about. Not a huge win rate, but fun deck, so wanted to take a look. It looks like this is the one that plays a ton of mana rocks and makes all your artifacts cheaper, and then wins with the Acerflux Reservoir and Paradox Engine. So this was popular a while back. Maybe the format has gotten to a point where this is kind of good again, but again, only 53% win rate, so not super crazy. But yeah, if you want to try something different, maybe you can check this one out. All right, and then in Alchemy, we actually do have a new deck, which is surprising. It was pretty much mono black and mono red. It's the only 2 decks that were playable. But Golg Food has kind of come up this last week as a pretty interesting player. So we'll take a look at that one. 60% win rate. Pretty nice. I think this is probably like a food combo deck. You use your food to make a bunch of other tokens. Get infinite tokens. I think that's what it's doing. Basically, it's like you get this Peregrine Took, you get the Experimental Confector, and you make a food token, or stack a food token, and then you get a bunch of tokens. I think that's the plan of this. I'd have to look at it a little bit closer to understand everything, but I think that's what's going on here. You just make 1,000,000 tokens, and you can turn them into 4/4s with your Tough Cookie. Um, you can stack them to your Beseech. Yeah, I think that's kind of what's going on. So, interesting deck. 60% win rate, quite good. Definitely, if you like Alchemy, I think this is probably worth trying out. It's one of the only other decks that has stood a chance against the Mono Black Scourge, so yeah, give it a shot. All right, and now we're going to talk about the Arena Championship 4. It's a historic tournament. We are going to have spoilers, so if you plan to watch it, maybe skip again to the Twitter deck lists. But yeah, let's take a look. So there was a big tournament this weekend. Basically, everybody who qualified via MTG Arena got to play in this big tournament. And the breakdown was like this. We had Mono Green, Devotion being the most popular deck. Also, Dimir Control. This is the Lurrus Dimir Control that Mistmin kind of popularized. So pretty solid deck. I wouldn't say tier 1 for the most part, but very solid. And then Golgar Yawgmoth, Is It Wizards, Ethis combo, Rakdos midrange. Oh, excuse me. A little bit tired. Baby stuff, you know. Samwise Gamgee combo, Midjon midrange, Belcher. Only one Belcher, kind of interesting. I feel like that deck's pretty solid, but I guess in best of 3, it can kind of be hated out a little bit more than normal. So, Green Devotion and Control are the two ones that are the most popular. And let's take a look at the top 8 to see how that went. So, we've got, top 8 was Wizards, Kethis, Green Devotion, Golgar Yawgmoth, Kethis, Samwise Gamgee. So a lot of combo in the top 8. Only one Control deck, only one Wizards deck, and only one, no, there's 2 Yawgmoth decks. So yeah, basically almost all combo. It's pretty crazy. And then looks like Wizards versus Green Devotion. So Wizards actually taking out combo and Devotion. So Wizard's pretty solid. And the Dimir Control somehow edged out over the Gamgee combo and the Yawgmoth combo. So I think it makes sense for the Yawgmoth one because Yawgmoth kind of needs targets to kind of pop off. So the fact that the Dimir Control has no creatures makes sense. But the Samwise Gamgee combo doesn't. So they must have either had a good play or got enough counter spells or things they needed for that one. That was definitely a tough matchup. And then the finals is It versus Dimir. So Is It Wizards and Dimir Control at the top spots. Very interesting. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at both of these in the top, to be honest. I would have expected like Mono Green Devotion versus Yawgmoth is my top 2 if I had to pick. And then we move on to Robert Taylor has the breakdown for the top 4, so we get to see who the winner was. The winner is the Is It Wizards deck, and only new card, Sleight of Hand, and I believe the Rage card. No, they didn't have the new Rage card from the last set, but they do have Flame of Anor, which pretty recently added card. So only Sleight of Hand being the only new addition from the last set. Very interesting. So Wizards still very solid, as you can see, and all they needed was a little bit more card selection, apparently. Very cool. And then if we want to look at the other spots, so number 2 should be Dimir. Maybe he got it a little bit mixed up, or are these from the Swiss? Oh, this is the Swiss. I'm sorry. Huh. Okay, this is from the Swiss. I thought I had both of those open up, the Swiss and the final winner, but I I can just show you the winner, because MTG Arena posted on about it. So let's see, and I believe it was still Wizards from when I saw before. So yeah, Shinya Saito took it down with Wizards. So still the same one, still the same one we just said. Wizards was the top spot, and of course we saw that Demir Control was the second place. So yeah, very interesting that these were the last two decks. Both players, playing very well. Wizards taking it down. I think it makes sense. Wizards just a little bit more solid in my opinion than the Demir deck, but very cool nonetheless. So let's also look at the standard challenge top 8 from Robert Taylor, posting it from MTGO. Azori Soldiers takes number 1. Enchantments taking number 2. 3 is the 4-color control or domain control, and 4th place another Azorius Soldier. So nothing too special here. I guess enchantments taking number 2 is pretty interesting. Kind of a deck that's tier 2. You don't really think of it winning stuff, but every deck can have its day in the right conditions. Interesting. All right. So that's the top 8. No new decks, nothing really new popping off in standard right now. So I think that's why a lot of people are playing historic. I did want to share this quick one from Crow's MTG. He's one of the creators I follow a lot, and we share similar interests. He's a big control player as well, and he's playing some Esper control. This is the list he was running. He did mention that he wished he had more whales in the deck, so I think Void Rend being very good at the moment. Dissipate, Quick Study, Wandering Emperor, and the Whale. All those are really good cards right now. So, yeah. And then you just got to decide if you want to be blue-white or if you want to be Esper. Esper for Void Rend, or blue-white if you want better mana. Yeah, pretty cool. I think Esper mana is pretty good, so you don't sacrifice too much, unlike some of the other decks. Like the domain ones, you definitely have to sacrifice a little bit for your mana. So, yeah, pretty cool. Crow's, of course, very good at control, so he makes it look easy. But yeah, it's a good. You can check him out at his channel here if you want to see more. All right, another deck from this weekend is this historic. This is a ninjas deck, I believe. Yeah, ninjas with Bitter Blossom and Lurus and Retrofitter Foundry. And this is kind of one of the versions of ninjas that's going around that's doing very well. People, having an insane win rate with it, 73% in historic, so very nice there. And then I don't know if this is the same deck, but another person also popping off with ninjas, using the Spiteful Hex Mage, which is very strange to be honest. I wonder why they're using Spiteful Hex Mage. Maybe because you can put it on like your Ornithopter or something, and you don't care. Makes your Ornithopter a 1/1. Maybe that's why. Anyway, pretty interesting. This one not using Bitter Blossom also, but still 73% win rate, or 72% win rate. So very good. I would think I would be more inclined to try the Bitter Blossom route because it's a strong card. Gives you targets for your ninjas each turn. Seems pretty solid. All right, so you got 2 different choices for ninjas if that's what you want to play. And yeah, it looks like they tweeted to each other. So to be fair, they kind of were talking or something. And then finally in standard, top mythic ranking by Sasha Coulter once again, playing the Esper mid-range with the Virtue of Loyalty and Lord Skitter. This is a more controlling version than I normally see because they've got the 4 make disappears and 4 go for the throats. And 3 Wandering Emperor. So I actually kind of like this version. This is more of like a control-y, tempo-y Esper mid-range. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Maybe I'll try this one because I I don't love Esper mid-range, but I do love Esper control, and this is like somewhere in the middle, and it's probably pretty strong, so pretty cool. So Sasha, again, bringing his own variation on a good deck to good results, as you saw, top mythic right there. All right, well, that is it. Yeah, it seems like standard has kind of stabilized. As for me, I've been playing a little bit of historic to try out some new stuff. I do have a pretty sick kind of toolbox deck that I was playing. It feels very solid. I know it needs a few tweaks, but overall feels really good. Using the bargain mechanic to counter stuff and also to find what you need in your deck. You can find your Karn, you can find your the Rusko, the clockmaker. So yeah, pretty cool. You can also use it to find sweepers. You can find it at the end to get rid of the opponent's combo pieces. So I'll have to share that next time, but once I find the final version. But it's been pretty good for me. So historic is pretty fun right now. Standard, I think, is getting a little bit not stale, but it's kind of solved, right? Like people know the best decks already. Yes, you can play a little bit of fringe stuff like Esper Control, which is going to be a tier 1.5, at least for now. Maybe somebody will break it, but for now it's not tier 1 yet. Yeah, so you can have fun, but it is mostly solved, I would say. All right, that's it for today. Until next time, go out there, have some fun. See ya.